And just like that, we're talking about 3D printed shoes. Of course, give thanks to PCBWay. They power the studio space. There's a discount in the description. It's free money. Our first 3D printed shoe that we're going to be talking about is really interesting. You saw it at the head there. It's from Fused Footwear, and it is called a Kaiju. Look at that thing. That is something that would start a conversation. There is a left and a right and a note. Joel, high five. This is a dream come true. I really hope you'll love these shoes, Philip. I got these because Philip originally saw my video with Lucy at Feats and how I talked about those shoes, and he thought he could do a much better job. And sure enough, he could, because these Kaiju shoes are insane. It's really crazy because these are 3D printed in this orientation. So you or I or someone else would probably have the capability to make these, but being able to make these doesn't necessarily make sense if they're not comfortable. Thankfully, they are. These slip on really, really easily, and these are actually sized correctly for my humongous feet, and I'm able to walk around in them. I'm able to run, squat, jump, look cool. All of those things possible with these shoes. And I'm really, really thankful that he sent them over. He also did send some socks with these. I have to show you because they're blue. Of course they're blue. And one of the benefits of having a transparent shoe in this Kaiju Mika is with a semi-translucence, you get to see the color of the blue. Or you can see your other cool socks too. I can't wait to wear these out in more places and at shows and at events. And I hope you and everyone else who goes to see me at these shows gets to see me wearing these things. Oh, these are so cool. Nice and sturdy, nice and comfortable. All right, the first shoe, done. Just like that, it's the next shoe. And these are a throwback. These, I can't believe I still have these. These are the Feats. These are Feats 3D printed shoes. And unfortunately, these were shoes that flew too close to the sun because they didn't last. You ended up with a lot of these sorts of problems. Don't get me wrong, Feats was trying to accomplish something really, really cool, like the bottom where the tread is. Look at that. They're 3D printed, but they're split. Part of the problems, though, in 3D printing a shoe is the traction. And when you use a very smooth filament, you end up with not a lot of traction. And I remember slipping around on these a bit. I also don't know why they're different colors. These have been in a closet on top of some old baseball cards that I have in a box and haven't seen the sun in years. So something happened. I don't know what happened chemically, but at the end of the day, Feats blazed the trail, and a candle that burns so bright can only burn for so long. And I guess that was Feats shoes. Sometimes when you order something online, it's not what it should be. What? You get something that's described as A, and you end up getting B or C. Case in point, these 3D printed shoes from Shein. Producer David went and bought these because they were like $25. And we were going to be making an episode about 3D printed shoes. And he said, $25 3D printed shoes? That would be great. And then I got them and I was like, David, these are not 3D printed. And I showed him, and we went back to the listing on Shein and they took out the 3D printed part. It is an interesting design. It's got decent traction. It's got this weird bend point in the middle. And they do go on like a slipper. There's traditional manufacturing up above. But on the bottom, these cool designs, I believe, are still traditionally manufactured. There's no layer lines. They may have printed it and then softened it or smoothed it, but I don't think that's the case. I think what we have here is injection molding. Somehow, they've got this sort of process that forms the bottom of the shoe, and they called it 3D printed. either because they wanted to take advantage of the fervor around 3D printing or because they just didn't know any better. Next up is something you've seen, something that I'm wearing currently, something that lots of us have worn at 3D printing shows and additive conferences, and it's from Adidas. This is actually a brand new pair. These shoes from Adidas attempted to blend 3D printing with conventional and traditional manufacturing, and at the end of the day, unfortunately, I have to play the role of disappointed dad because I don't think this has worked out in a positive way for the consumer. Let me explain. Carbon is responsible for the lattice work here. The lattice, the midsole, is 3D printed by carbon. And in fact, on these brand new ones, it looks great. On the ones that are on my feet, get up there, Joel. I mean, the lattice is still there. It's a little bit dusty. And, oh, this other pair I had that I wore out. Also, the lattice structure worked, and it stayed, and it was robust, and it was exactly what I wanted. But the traditional part of the shoe, the tread and the top part of the shoe, in my opinions, has fallen quite short. These were the original ones I had, and you can tell my toe poked through the end there. And these weren't too small for me. It's just that the material out front couldn't withstand the forces of my big toe. I did wear these every day, and I'm not a runner, I'm not a cross trainer. These were worn to and from the studio, the store. I drove my car in these, and so the wear and tear that I put on these didn't seem extraordinary. And yet it was a failure point in the traditional parts of the shoe very early on. I actually reached out to Adidas and Carbon, and that's why I got these ones. These are decent as well. These were the replacements, but you can see that the material has started to fail here. It's malformed, and also, that's not good. The traditional sole and the traditional top are failing, but the 3D printed midsole is still running strong. I had started with these, and then they sent these, but these, even though they are both the same size, they are vastly different in physical size, which is why they then sent these. And so part of the problem that Adidas had was marrying traditional methods with additive methods. And I mean, I have two failures here early on where the 3D printed components survived and flourished, and the traditional components are the ones that failed. And these are only brand new because even though they're the same size, they didn't fit my feet where these ones did. And so with that respect, I like that Adidas tried this. And I'm really thankful that Carbon gave them this 3D printed midsole. But I think at the end of the day, if 3D printing footwear is going to not just survive, but excel and really adapt to the human experience, we need to think of less traditional manufacturing and more customized and bespoke manufacturing using the additive process. And so these are cool. I mean, I got to put my shoe back on, but at the end of the day, I don't think this is where 3D printed footwear ends. Oh, I'm so glad you've made it this far, because if you have, you're looking at this box, Zellerfeld. And you may have seen Stefan, CNC Kitchen, wearing a pair of these at Form Next or one of the RepRap festivals. Cornelius at Zellerfeld has reached out, and he's like, Joel! And I'm like, Cornelius! He's a good dude. He also got to meet up with producer David down in Los Angeles, and they made plans to dominate the world, as one does. These are, without a doubt, the most comfortable and the highest quality 3D printed shoe I've ever held. So when we get these out, I mean, just take a look at that design. That is impressive. We'll put them up right here. And look at this, Cornelius. I got some socks. I got a hat. buy my shoes on Zellerfeld.com. That's a hint of what's coming next. And there we go. Cornelius, man, you hooked me up. Okay, good. There we go. And here we've got Zellerfeld shoes. Zellerfeld shoes are 100% 3D printed. And when you hold one of these, you can feel that the different parts of the shoe have different thicknesses and different hardness, and some parts are soft, and they're made very carefully. And the materials that are chosen right now, soft, pliable, workable, really good. Going forward, I've heard from Cornelius that there's some next gen stuff, and I'm hoping we get out to the factory at some point because I'm gonna wanna show you that. But for now, let's concentrate on the shoes that we have in front of us. And these are 3D printed. They are comfortable. You can bounce and jump and run and look cool, all of those things. I like that they're fully 3D printed. I like these designs. He did send 2 pair. Now the white ones here, they're a little bit bigger and they fit my feet. The orange ones are a little bit smaller, just to kind of show you. See, there's a little bit more room in that toe box there, and that's what I need. These were a little bit smaller, but I was able to try these on as well, and I was able to run and jump in these. I really like that Cornelius has found a way to use 3D printing 100% of the way, but also provide the things that a shoe needs in that. Remember when I talked about the Adidas shoes and I talked about the Feats shoes? The tread on the bottom was substandard. And on Adidas shoes, it was coming off and splitting away from the midsole. These ones, though, they have a certain stick to them. They're very not sticky, but they stay on the ground and they provide good traction. And then when you wear something that's made 100% by a manufacturing method, then you have to utilize a material that works up above, that feels nice and soft, but also works in the areas that have to provide the traction and the form and the function of it. And I think what Zellerfeld has done is accomplish that. It's surprising how good these feel. It's super surprising because they slip on like most of them and they feel good. And I'm really happy that I have these. I'm really happy I got to show them to you. And this look at 3D printed shoes, I think serves a purpose in kind of giving us a checkpoint as to where we are within this industry. I've shown you where we came from. I've shown you something that achieved some success in the Adidas shoes. I showed you a shoe that was trying to take advantage by labeling something it wasn't. I got to show you something that was incredible in design. And I got to show you something that is giving you probably the highest quality experience so far, at least in my personal opinion, with a 3D printed shoe. And where we're going, I can only imagine that we're going to take customized to the next level. And we're going to take materials to the next level. And we're going to end up in a really cool future where everybody can customize their footwear in a way that they love and have it manufactured professionally just in time, exactly the way they want it. What I'm hoping for, and if you're watching this and you're a shoe manufacturer, a 3D printed shoe manufacturer, what I would like to do is find a way to make utility shoes something that 3D printing can achieve. Now, I know there are boots and there are hiking shoes, and I know that just working around the yard, like chore shoes I would mow the lawn in, I know I can do it with these, but I don't want to. I think with 3D printing, we have the ability to customize things and make these bespoke experiences. So why not find a material that we can use in an additive way and produce something that can be used as a utility shoe? I think that's next level. And if we can get there, I'd love to see it. And you got here, which is at the end. You made it this way. You're awesome. Don't forget to hug each other more, fight for cause you believe in, 3D print all the footwear. And as always, high five.